Friday, everyone. Always good to be at work, but it's always good to be at work on a Friday. It means the weekend's coming. Brother Luis asked me to trade with him, so he's doing devotion Monday. And so I found out about 3:30 or 4 yesterday. And so just happened to run across an article. I don't know if it was related to, it wasn't tied to a devotion or didn't have any scriptures, but I read it several times, and then I found another article about this. It was from 1987. And I'm like, there's a message there, at least a devotion. So the Lord helped me. When I got home, I was studying a little bit, and it was a blessing to me, and I hope it will be a blessing to you. A pearl of great price. A man named Rob Cutshaw owned a little roadside shop outside Andrews, North Carolina. Like many in his trade, he hunts for rocks, then sells them to collectors or jewelry makers. He knows enough about rocks to decide which to pick up and sell, but he's no expert. He leaves the appraising of his rocks to other people. As much as he enjoys the work, it does not always pay the bills. He occasionally moonlights cutting wood to help put bread on the table. Now, again, this was 1987. While on a dig 18 years ago, so that would have been 1969, Rob found a rock he described as purty and big. Sound like the mountains of North Carolina, don't it? Purty. He tried unsuccessfully to sell the specimen, so he kept the rock under his bed in a box, and at one time he kept it in his closet. He guessed the blue chunk could bring as much as $500, but he would have taken less if something urgent came up, like paying his power bill. At one point, he had it in his shop and had it on display, and it was for sale. He said that he didn't have a tag on it, but if somebody would have offered him a good price, he would have sold it. Probably for $100, he said. That's how close Rob came to selling for a few $100s what turned out to be the largest, most valuable sapphire ever found as of 1987. The blue rock that Rob had abandoned to the darkness of a closet almost 2 decades earlier, now known as the Star of David's sapphire because of a rare pattern in the main crystal, weighed nearly a pound and could easily sell for $2.75 million. Wish I could go back in time, Brother Hawkins. Buy that rock for it. I'd gladly give him $500 for it. He had no idea what he possessed. He had no idea of its true value. He knew he had something of value, but he wouldn't have kept it for so long. But his appraisal of what it was far below its actual worth. We hear stories similar to this where someone had something in their possession worth millions of dollars, yet had no clue what they had. Maybe they put it in an attic or in storage, but it just wasn't that important to them. Mr. Cutshaw realized the value of what he had. When Mr. Cutshaw realized the value of what he had, he put it on display so his community could see it. He took it from under his bed, and he no longer hid it under a bushel, but he let it be seen. Local police and sheriff deputies stood guard over it. When we realize the value of what we have, we too will guard it. We will do everything in our power to keep it. He didn't guard it when it had no value to him. No one wanted to steal it. But when the true value was revealed, it had to be guarded so that thieves wouldn't steal it. Now that's the first story. Now let me tell you another story. Just a few miles from Andrews, North Carolina, a man found a pearl of great price in a field, worth much more than Cutshaw's sapphire. In case you didn't know, Andrews, North Carolina is about 15 miles on the other side of Murphy, North Carolina. That man that found this pearl of great price was A.J. Thompson. Matthew 13, verses 44 through 46. Again, the kingdom of heaven, and the church of God is part of the kingdom of heaven, is likened to a treasure hid in a field. Now you kind of follow along with the correlations between the two stories. And again, the kingdom of heaven is likened to treasure hid in a field, the which when a man hath found, he hideth. Psalm 119:11 says, Thy word have I hid in my heart. For joy thereof goeth and selleth all. It's worth selling all, right? And what A.J. Thompson did? He sold out. He was committed. Selleth all that he had and buyeth that field. Proverbs 23:23 says, Buy the truth and sell it not. Verse 45, Again, the kingdom of heaven is likened to a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, who when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. What was this pearl? It was the truth. It was the church, the pillar and ground of the truth. You can't separate the two. If you take away the truth from the pillar, the church, then it's no longer the church. It's just another denomination. Because the true church is the pillar. It holds up the truth. By the truth. We need to realize the value of the truth and the value of the church. Obviously, Christ thought it had some value because he purchased it. He sold out. He gave his all. He purchased the church of God with his own blood. How valuable is the church to you? When we comprehend its value, we will put it on display, just like Rob did. Matthew 5:14 through 16. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on an hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick. And it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. There is a price to be paid, but the price we pay pales in comparison to the true value of this pearl of great price. The return on investment is out of this world. Before Mr. Cutshaw knew the value of his stone, he had to turn to other sources of work to pay his bills. Likewise, when we fail to grasp the true value of this pearl of great price, we too will have to turn to other things to meet our needs. We will foolishly spend our time on worldly affairs and cares and put our strength and energy into far less worthy matters. We tend to not see the value because we focus on the blemishes, the impurities, and the flaws of the pearl. And that's probably why Mr. Cutshaw didn't think it was worth $2.75 million because it at that time it was rough. It had flaws. But when he realized what he had, you know what he did? He sent it to be cut and polished and shine. When the church realizes what she has and who she is, she will wash herself and make herself ready. She will allow the expert to cut and shine her so her true value will shine forth and glorify God. When you truly see the value of it, you want to do all you can to make it shine. And talking about it and criticizing doesn't cause it to shine. No, just the opposite. When you work hard to buy something, you keep it shining. Now, my truck is fairly new. When I first got it, I like to keep it shine. Someone commented to me and said, "You should keep that thing shining. What do you do?" I just wash it. I don't do anything special. But the problem is, after we've had it for a while, it tends, in our minds, it tends to lose its value. Let's keep this thing shined. Amen. Let's not forget its value. Amen. What kind of value do we put on this pearl that we found? Do we hide it in a closet to pull it out when we need to pay the light bills or have some other need? Mr. Cutshaw said he was willing to sell it for $100 just to help pay the light bill. Is it just an insurance policy? That's basically what it was for him. It's just, I'll just keep it as an insurance policy, and if I need it, I can sell it and get a little bit out of it. But listen, insurance only benefits you when you have a need. When you have a car accident, when your house catches on fire, or a medical need. Sadly, that's the attitude of most people concerning the Lord and even the church. He's just an insurance policy. When times get bad, then they call on him. This man was willing to sell his sapphire for next to nothing until he realized its value. Then they placed guards around it to guard and protect it from the thieves. The enemy comes to steal, but as long as we don't see the value and potential, we're no threat to him. He's not going to try to steal something that isn't valuable. But once we realize the value of this pearl, we need to guard it and to protect it from the enemy. Why? Because he knows the power of the truth. He knows the authority that has been given to the church. And he knows that the gates of hell cannot prevail against the church of God. Let's not underestimate the value of this pearl like Mr. Cutshaw did his sapphire. Let's pay a price for it. Let's put it on display. And let's guard it at all costs. Amen. Any prayer requests?